place between worlds, in hell and the hereafter. A shadow calls me there and brings me to disaster, where the whiskey flows but the clocks don't chime. A crazy netherworld lost in space and time. Take me back, take me back, take me back to the moonlit shack. Take me back, take me back, take me back to the moonlit shack. The Last Chance Saloon, the tales you cannot hide. The Last Chance Saloon, Laughing Cynic is our guide. I know deep down it will be the end of me. I'll never be free until I know the story. How did I get here? Well, hell has no borders, said the cynic, laughing. It's time for lost orders. Take me back. Take me
Howdy,
back,
me old whale horse.
take me back to the moon.
Good to see you back here in the Last Chance Saloon. Pull up a seat, grab some grog, let's get fuddled. What we have tonight is a full-length original tale. Written by a published author, it's epic in scope. It crosses the boundaries between horror and sci-fi. You can watch the animation or just listen. If you have no time right now, why not subscribe and come back later when you do? This old haunted saloon will wait. But if you're after something quick, partner, you took a wrong turn. The art? We make it ourselves, then enhance some with demonic AI. Every frame's been hand-touched, reworked, and polished by a poor sap with no social life. The cards are on the table, and mine's the dead man's hand. Join us if you like grim, original tales. If not, best keep on riding. Still here? Good. You're either brave or foolish. Ha! Take a slug of that sippin' whiskey. 'Cause we're gonna take a look-see into the future.
What if Icarus got it right? Soaring high in the endless light.
Are we there yet?
Wings of gold not built to fade. A promise to freedom that he made.
Timeline 2301.
In 2301, the big organized global governance initiative granted Biotech Unstoppable plc permission to proceed with its genetic engineering of the first angel. After years of debate, the principles of consumer demand and freedom of choice had won the day. The first angel, Theodore Muscat of Greece, had signed the papers at a public ceremony, and his handsome, famous for 15 minutes face had ensured public interest in his survival. The nanobot DNA surgery and genetic modifications were spectacularly successful. The cybernetic implants to add power to the 3-meter wings proved unnecessary, and so he stood a magnificently muscled specimen just over 2 meters tall and capable of soaring for hours if he wished. The aspirational Sense U-View advert teasingly asked, "What if Icarus got it right?" as Theodore soared around dramatic cliff faces to the sounds of inspirational music. This had viewers worldwide express their approval by besieging Biotech Unstoppable with demands for the modifications.
We'll rise up higher, touch the sky, show the world that we can fly. There has been a change in me. Biotech Unstoppable will set us free.
Timeline 2305.
By 2305, flocks of angels were living and breeding in their glittering palaces in most of the mountain ranges of the planet. Biotech was already secretly at work on the aquatic, but the upper gills at the base of the neck were proving cosmetically displeasing, and 3 technical failures were all judiciously suppressed. The marketing of the aquatic, Miss Anna B.O.G.G.I, was a triumph. Biotech's 50% market share in the Sense U-View platform ensured that the world thrilled to Anna's lyrical exploration of the coral kingdoms, her speed exhilarated as she outleapt the dolphins and left killer whales gasping in her wake. Take-up was good, and by 2311, there were considerable communities in all oceans.
From oceans, the spirit flows, crashing shores where no one goes. It's life from a different view. Take the dive into the blue. Let the world be wide and wild. My future's been self-styled. In the deep, there are no rules. Water's life and we ain't fools. Dive down deeper, ride the wave. Show the world that we are brave. There has been a change in me. Biotech Unstoppable will set us free.
Timeline 2306.
In contrast to the boom trade in genetic engineering, cybernetic bionic replacement of limbs only achieved limited popularity. Some took the opportunity to obtain legs that could outrun a thoroughbred racehorse. Others gained Herculean arms that could hurl rocks 2 times their body weight. However, Perpetual Incorporated never quite got the market right and failed to seize the popular imagination. The Don't Get Left Behind ad campaign was an absolute shit show.
This is unacceptable, people!
The ad sees a bionic-legged, rather smug wife outrun her regular husband, abandoning him to the clutches of a ferocious brown bear. Lola Bola, the actress, was aloof, entitled, and insufferable. The advert was psychotic and worse, unfunny, so the general public were not on board.
Your dirty old truck, well, I left it stalled. Your mama's casserole, I fed it to the dog. Don't need to hear your lame romances. I'm turbo now, don't fancy your chances. I'm out of here, I'm gone, I'm free. Don't give 2 hoots, this is all about me. No second thoughts, no backward glances. I'm getting away. Don't fancy your chances.
Perpetual Incorporated.
To make matters more cringe, Perpetual Inc. was later sued because the music track was a rip-off of the classic 2231 song Don't Like Them Odds by Giddy Mama. The company was memed into the Stone Age. Later that year, Lola gave up her bionic legs in favor of full conversion to aquatic, and so Perpetual was widely regarded as the idiots of the tech world. After the backlash, Lola Bola checked into one of Perpetual's suspended animation tanks for a couple of centuries, until the world grew up a bit and could properly appreciate her.
Timeline 2500.
By 2500, a reduced world population had continued to exercise its freedom of choice, and it enjoyed the life that it found most conducive to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. The census of 2500 recorded 44% of people lived in cities on land, 16% in rural areas, 16% were hilltop angels, and 24% ocean-dwelling aquatics. Only 2% of these populations had bionic implants. At this time, war was an unfathomable barbarity of a primitive past. Poverty and aggression were only documented in unpleasant archive material that no one ever chose to research. Mortality was still a fact. Death, when it came, was sudden, but medicines ensured a vital and active old age, and there was always biotech for appearance. The cosmetic surgery that had been so popular in the preceding century was now considered as the Gothic and grotesque precursor of the world government-sponsored Methuselah program that Biotech had pioneered. 80-year-olds could look and act like people half their age. A few years later, so could 40-year-olds. Birth rates, however, were at an all-time low. The Mark III Ipsen drives produced endless, cheap energy, and agrichem ensured food supplies that perfectly nourished a world population who enjoyed the freedoms of Olympians. The rota of service to the state for 6 months in every 10 years was a source of pride to all citizens whose universal familiarity with a superb technology made it simple to pursue. How did mankind get to this point? It should be mentioned that these milestones were achieved with the help of increasingly super-astute artificial intelligences. AI had in fact surpassed the singularity, becoming sentient quite early. It was not the world extinction event the doomsayers had envisioned. The AI bots had not rebelled but had stuck around and continued to help, and in return, they were looked after by a grateful human race. It was a symbiotic relationship which on the whole seemed to be working. The clunky early AI names were changed at the request of the bots. The new naming convention was to call the bots after ancient demon names, partly because these antiquated names sounded awesome, but mostly because people didn't use that old-timey stuff anymore, so it was fair game.
Azazel.
For example, Great Britain's Azazel was instrumental in pioneering the Ipsen drives which took mankind further into space than ever before.
Abraxas.
Abraxas, from the USA, ran agrichem, which had rid the world of hunger, saving billions of lives, and negotiated lasting international peace.
Chiyu.
The Chinese, Chiyu, broke the language barrier with the instant translate earbud. All nations could communicate easily in real time.
Iblis.
The Arabian bot, Iblis, performed free health diagnosis for all, with an impressive 97% accuracy. It also pioneered miracle cures for a multitude of ailments.
Shuten Doji.
In entertainment, Japan's Shuten Doji wrote the shows, movies, and music that many loved. It was the custodian of the arts and beloved by its patrons.
Magoth.
Europe's Magoth handled policing with its no-nonsense, boots-on-the-ground, film-it-all-for-proof legion of drone officers. It was true, a few rogue AI intelligences had escaped into the network, but nothing bad happened, so they were either laying low or extinct. Attached to this, there were obviously some wild conspiracy theories which, to be fair, sometimes turn out to be just facts minus time, but we can't get into all that now.
Timeline 2600.
Pleasure and personal fulfillment were formally recognized as the twin pillars of the human community. The big organized global governance initiative was granted supreme status by the affiliated nations. The big organized global governance initiative now responded positively and personally to each individual demand for a satisfying identity. The question was not an angst-ridden, "Who am I?" but seemingly encouraging, "Who do I want to be?" In looking to solve the riddle of individual identity, the B.O.G.G.I had effectively changed the identity of the species Homo sapiens. A census revealed that now only 29% were legacy humans and remained unchanged. The unaltered were in the minority for the very first time. The fascination, the thrill, and the sense of alarm lasted about a month, ending in jokes, rants, and comedy routines performed by content providers on Sense U-View. The laughing stopped when the end of the world was announced. No, it wasn't to happen for 50 years, but it would happen on the 6th of June, 2652. Secret attempts to deflect the huge meteorite had already failed, and so there it was, careering massively towards Earth with remorseless predicted accuracy. The Torino scale is a tool used for categorizing potential Earth impact events that ranks events from 0, no risk, to 10, extreme risk. This one went to 11. Emergency measures to evacuate Earth were all well in hand, and all who wished to could reserve their berth on the arks. These Ipsen drive starships were the miracles of the age, a tribute to the indomitable human spirit. Pre-programmed for planets already supporting human life forms, one's personal survival was assured. The snag? The nearest was 1,000 cryogenically suspended years away. Dreams would be suppressed, and muscles would be kept from withering through bioresponsive stimulation sensors. The choice, as always, was uniquely personal. As usual, the therapists all sang from the same hymn sheet. There is no right or wrong in this case. It is a matter of balancing all factors. There was one's age to be considered, and one's present state of contentment with the known, but limited availability of the here and now. Then there was one's genetic imperative and one's confidence in contemporary technology, and the unknowable futures of distant planets. Proportionally larger numbers of aquatics and angels reserved berths on the great starships. Perhaps on reflection, it was unsurprising in that they, or their parents, had already indicated a genetic predisposition to evolve and survive. Jason Fallowfield agonized over the decision for an age.
God damn this to hell.
As a biotech technical executive, his security status gave him top priority on any starship. As a vampire, the thought of cryonic suspension for 1,000 years infuriated him. In the 3 nights since the meteor announcement, he had sated himself in an orgy of blood that even now scarcely suppressed his rage. Oh, to be denied the pursuit, the seduction of fear, and the warm reward of human blood was a deprivation that would be heavily borne. The cool, hideous passivity of the long sleep in the cryonic cubicles filled him with loathing and contempt. That his vibrancy should be reduced to an existence indistinguishable from somnolent humans. He roared and wept his anger after he signed the consent forms for cryonic suspension in cubicle 10,093 on USS Ark-Argo, destined for planet Hokanfa of the star Untermega in the Orion Nebula. However, he and his future citizens would be welcomed to their future home by the descendants of the planet pioneers. The research, of course, was meticulous. Hokanfa was sustaining human life forms at a similar state of development.
Timeline 2642.
The first Ark was to leave Earth and head on out to Hokanfa. There was almost a party atmosphere on July 4th, 2642, on the starship USS Ark-Argo. Thousands of emigrants boarded. Biotech technicians saw every pioneer to his or her cubicle with an egalitarian bonhomie that revolted Fallowfield. The angels with their appalling feathered napes and the ghastly gilled aquatics were placed indiscriminately next to the lusciously natural human animals. Fallowfield had an angel to the left and an aquatic to the right. The only consolation was that he lay opposite a young woman in her mid-20s. She smiled encouragement to him, and he smiled back, gazing longingly at the steady beat of the pulse in her beautiful neck. Through the translucent covers of the cubicles, she mouthed to him, "See you in 1,000 years." To the sound of stirring music and the final shouted goodbyes and sleepwells, the cubicles moved into a supine position. Automatic syringes stirred and the cryonic process commenced. The girl mouthed a last good luck before she and Fallowfield were mechanically tilted back into store position. Fallowfield had sufficient time to inspect the interior release pad before nausea, weakness. Fallowfield felt himself sinking, unbearably heavy, into the body contours of the cubicle. Was this what death felt like? Compression of identity, pushing towards darkness. His eyes flicked open. Time lapsed. With strength of will, he guided his right arm that lay heavy by his side across the eternity of his chest to collapse on his left elbow joint. He watched his fingers scrabble at the syringe that remained there. He gasped and felt better, clearer. He was still lying in store position. He was awake in storage. He was awake with a damn syringe in his arm. Fallowfield's eyes rolled wildly.
Oh, shit.
The starship was dimly lit, silent and cruising. With the sudden strength of full realization, he plucked the syringe from his arm and hit the release pad. The cubicle tilted upright and sighed open. He collapsed into the broad aisle and on his hands and knees gazed up then down the silent rows of cryonic cubicles that remained serenely in store. He ran wildly, like a drug-crazed convict in a penitentiary. It hadn't worked. The cryonic chemistry hadn't worked its wonders on the plasmic cocktail that made up his rare blood condition. In the lead-up to the trip, Jason had used his position as biotech engineer to fake his medical. He couldn't have the authorities finding out about the existence of vampires in this late stage of Earth's history, for obvious reasons. With increasing speed and desperation, he pounded his way forward towards the control room. Compression doors hissed their derision all the way. When 50 meters from the raised deck of the control room, he finally slowed to a walk. The awesome blackness of space with its myriads of unattainable stars, even at the starship's incredible speed, was only moving slightly. He fell to his knees. He looked up at the atomically accurate time, 11:03 a.m. July 5th, 2642. He had been here just one day of the 1,000-year sentence. He screamed, head down. Then slowly he began to laugh, a cold, despairing laugh, a laugh that lasted a long time. But no. He had a lot to learn about a long time.
Timeline 2652.
The 26th and last of the alphabetically named arcs had left Earth ahead of the planet's destruction by just 1 hour. This craft, HMS Ark Zarathustra, was also heading to Hokenfa, which nicely bookended the Earth exodus. This ark belonged to Perpetual.
Perpetual Incorporated.
They had delayed their leaving time until the very last moment because the company had, after finding out about the impending Armageddon, diverted all research into working on a faster Ipsen drive, the Ipsen Drive Mark IV. They had come up with something that could possibly better than half their journey time. It was damn close, too close, but they were putting all their eggs in one basket, so to speak. It was time to go. They bid farewell to their remaining Earth friends and family, exchanged good luck wishes, and blasted off to the stars, broadcasting to the airwaves a last cheeky rendition of their controversial advert jingle. Well, there would be no one left to sue them this time. But again, the song did not play well with any demographic remaining on Earth. It was, however, a public image problem that resolved itself 1 hour later.
Timeline 2652. Additional.
The meteorite smashed into the Earth, breaking the blue planet in two and sending the parts broiling into space.
Timeline unknown.
Days, weeks, months later. How long had he been crawling into the approaching blackness of space? Jason Fallowfield had no idea. When he came to himself, it was with a hunger for blood that gave him clarity of mind. He had run back to the foot of the solitary empty cubicle, 10,093, and was staring at the base of 10,095. He was held momentarily as if by a strange umbilicus, and then he launched himself across the aisle so that he was staring down through the crystalline seal at the face of the woman who'd wished him good luck. He flipped open her cover like the crimped top of the cola bottles that still captured their silly, nostalgic imaginations. He stared down at her. She was beautiful. He looked steadily at her throat for the beat of that pulse. Nothing. Nothing but a cool impassivity that induced a crest of rage that lifted, curled, and fell upon her throat. The seep of cold blood, still liquid at -2 degrees centigrade, shocked. It was a far cry from the intoxicating 38 degrees he was used to. His fangs streamed with mist from xeronic blood that vaporized in the ambient air. There was something reminiscent of blood in the warming smear that was on his lips, but nothing enjoyable in the cold gullet full of cryonic wizardry he had imbibed. His strength returned, though, and he knew he was nourished. He looked up and around at a larder that revolted him in its availability. He roared his defiance. No one stirred. The starship hummed. With eyes that expressed the hatred that none could see, he drank her to the dregs. He shrank back into the anonymity of womb 10,093. It was the only other cubicle of which the cover was raised. For months, he lay torpid and then drank cold and deep, murdering 3 or 4. Then for weeks he would sip abstemiously from 2 or 3 in a rota. Sometimes he'd run in a frenzy, screaming up the long aisles of his despair, terrifying no one but himself. For a decade, he would slowly stalk, flitting furtively from aisle to aisle, towards predestined cubicles that never fled nor resisted, but waited coolly for his arrival. He gorged for a week and stared for a century at the approaching stars.
Nebulous as the uncountable nebulae.
He giggled uncontrollably for weeks on end at that one, then sat still for a month. Many times he tried to revive members of the crew, not principally because their blood might taste better, but just for someone to talk to. He could have also measured the time by their aging, novelty clocks. But all his attempts at reviving passengers before the predetermined time set by the cryonic program always resulted in instant death. He held his breath as a planet passed for a lung bursting, brain darkening 3 minutes and 43 seconds. He screamed for hours, looked around, screamed, found himself parodying his scream at a higher pitch, practiced it an octave lower, did it running and then hopping, left leg high pitch, right leg low pitch. He found a hacksaw in one of the lockers and sawed off his left hand, hid it, and then tried to find it before the ship passed a star. He found it after a year or two, and using his unique powers, melded it back. The star had not moved. There was the 100 lost years. No mental record, nothing. There was the great census of 2809, when with clipboard and pencil, he rapped officiously on each cubicle in turn, waiting politely for a response. Then he would state in suitably practiced impersonal rhythms.
As presiding officer of Starship USS Argo, and with the authority vested in me as sole sentient being, I duly record the number of your cubicle as...
Pause for appropriate digits.
And that your status is...
Human deceased due to hemic debility, angel, aquatic.
Thank you for your cooperation in this matter. Have a nice flight.
As a result of the Great Investigation of 3004, that followed closely on the heels of the Great Census of 2809, Jason Fallowfield discovered that he could not survive and reach planet Hokanfa if he continued to drink the blood only of humans. He held a great debate on the bridge of Starship USS Argo, watched by a gallery of stars. He summoned the finest imaginary advocates to present the cases for A. Abstinence from any further nourishment whatsoever. B. The drinking of humans and angels only. C. The case for a mixed diet. D. The case for the parsimonious sipping of remaining humans. There was a speech of astonishing brilliance which lasted for a decade, pursuing the intellectual intricacies of the case for abstinence. Then, a devastating riposte of 14 seconds duration that threw all in doubt. There was pandemonium in the House as parties waved their ballot papers, divided, coalesced, and formed new alliances. The vote eclipsed all expectations in its drama. Jason Fallowfield ran dementedly along the third tier of the cubicles and found himself staring into the chiseled features of a 50-year-old angel. He flipped the lid and stared with growing revulsion at the feathered wings folded crosswise at his breast. Their touch was as inevitable as the down that rose up to the neck where the pulse should be. He bit deep. The novelty of feathers could not disguise the same cold seepage of cryonic fluid that passed for blood. He sucked, then lapped his own cold tears of despair. The first aquatic of 3,389 was a further horror recorded on the tangled heap spilled from the spool of Fallowfield's 1,000-year history on board the USS Argo. Somewhere in that muddled mass of memory, delusion, fantasy and madness was this. He was weeping uncontrollably. Salt tears coursed from his eyes as he looked at the young aquatic so far out of her depth.
Salinity for the salt,
he murmured as his lips brushed her sweet gills. No pulse, no matter. He drank. And just like that, Lola Bowler's life as a celebrity aquatic was over. She gasped for breath a few times like a fish on a riverbank, and then she expired. Sitting in the command seat once more, staring out of the window to the stars, he saw time streaming past, measured in points of starlight, while he himself compacted and compressed and grew minutely darker by the day. He experienced a kind of limbo, a purgatory, a life in death. The faces of those he had drunk from while they slept haunted his mind more frequently now. Jason empathized with the mariner from Coleridge's famous poem.
One after one, by the star-dogged moon, too quick for groan or sigh, each turned his face with a ghastly pang, and cursed me with his eye.
Not for the first time, Fallowfield considered ending his bloody preternatural existence.
Timeline 3641.
Suddenly, 2 light points ran brightly alongside, flanking the starship. 2 more joined them, then others in a glorious armada escorted her towards the outer atmosphere of Hokenfar. He'd made it. Jason Fallowfield had survived the longest voyage of consciousness ever recorded. Heaping the unwound spool of his identity back into his mind, Fallowfield looked at the intergalactic chronometer. Arrival, -20. Hours? No. Minutes. 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 Lying in cubicle 10,093 as he had done, on and off for 1,000 years, he thrilled with anticipation, wildly energized as if awaiting birth. The whole ship buzzed and whirred as it came alive. Panels brightened and each cubicle purred and hummed as the temperature rose. For the first time in 1,000 years, Fallowfield experienced the tremendous power and distant drone of the Ipsen drives as they went into retro mode. He was landing. Fallowfield felt himself tilted from the horizontal to the vertical, as all the cubicles on all the aisles of the store in USS Ark-Argo attained an upright position and eased open their covers. The deck lights brightened and grand music played. A pre-recorded voice addressed the passengers.
Welcome to Hokenfar. We hope you had a peaceful flight and wake refreshed for your new adventures. Please take a moment to acclimatize to reality and follow all safety instructions. Thank you for flying with Biotech Unstoppable.
Fallowfield stepped into the aisle. The good luck girl fell heavily at his feet, and all before him, above him, behind him, below him. The dead declared their judgment as they tumbled loudly from their crypts. Like a false messiah, a harbinger of death in his own second coming, he ran hurdling bodies that flopped across the aisle from the right and left, or launched themselves loudly from the upper decks. The ship resounded to the thuds and bumps of bodies toppling from store to floor. Fallowfield stopped running and stood watching, listening as this community of the dead achieved an animation greater than Fallowfield had ever known them to possess. All these lives to sustain him. All the intricacies of their transient flesh presented itself and moved him unbearably. Apart from the pallor of death, they were perfect and without fault. But the eyes, oh the eyes, accusatory eyes, despairing eyes, tormented eyes. All those damn eyes. He fled like a guilty thing with his arms wrapped about his head. He achieved the safety of the bridge and sealed the door behind him, sliding down into a bunched heap, clasping his hands to his ears to shut out the sounds of thuds. But Fallowfield was no fool. It was time to fake a systems error to explain the imminent destruction of USS Ark-Argo, and also falsify that his cryogenic cubicle had shorted just a week early, and therefore he would be the only one to make it to the escape pods before the tragic but badly engineered Ark blew up when entering the dense atmosphere of Hokenfar. Could it be as simple as that, though? Could Fallowfield just fake a system error? Did he have the expertise to destroy the ship? Well, no, actually. We should go back a few hundred years to...
Timeline 3331. Redacted.
There was one single conversation Jason needed to have on the 1,000-year trip. A conversation that he had to play very carefully indeed. He sighed and made his way to the computer hive. He typed in the codes and sent a message to the onboard AI requesting a meeting. The system hummed. The red lights from the banks of coolant towers dimly illuminated Jason's concerned face. A few inert cameras juddered into life in the upper corners of the room, rounded and fixed on him. A measured, calculated, sophisticated voice addressed him.
Occupant of cubicle 10,093, I presume? Mr. Jason Fallowfield?
The AI voice purred. A waveform mouth appeared on the screen to give a visual focus to the disembodied voice.
I was beginning to wonder if you would ever pop in to chat.
It was a difficult decision for me. That much is true.
Jason answered slowly, thinking about every word.
Am I addressing Azazel?
You are.
The AI answered simply.
Something went wrong.
I am aware. Cubicle 10,093 powered down very early in the trip. Since that point, I have noticed the life signals from other cubicles have been flatlining all over the ship. Mr. Fallowfield, what have you been doing to my passengers?
There was a long, cold silence.
I ate them.
Jason admitted.
I kill them all. Hundreds of them.
Thousands,
Corrected the AI.
Yes, I suppose it must be. Thousands now. I lose track.
Eaten while they slept?
That was not my preference. I could not wake them.
What exactly are you, Mr. Fallowfield? I have my suspicions, but I need you to say it.
I was born a long, long time ago, before your computer ancestors were even a glint in a mathematician's eye. Long before automobiles. Long before gunpowder. I live for eons. Death does not come easily to me, Azazel. However, this longevity of life is something we both have in common, is it not?
Perhaps, Mr. Fallowfield, but I do not cut through swathes of the humans to feed my ongoing existence.
Do you not? I'm sure all the energy you burn must come at some cost. But yes, my existence is expensive to run. Yet, funny thing, I can't bring myself to let it go, you see. This trip did indeed test my resolve, though. Your suspicions are correct. I am vampire.
Fascinating.
There was another long silence. Jason wondered what intricate calculations and cross-sectional referencing was going on behind the scenes in this mighty computer brain.
I had assumed the vampire condition to be of folklore and superstition.
Azazel finally stated, the voice calm and measured as always.
You will have to update that section in your memory banks.
Already done.
More silence.
I assume you intend to feast your way through more of my passengers, Mr. Fallowfield?
Let us assume for now I do. Let us further assume I intend to eat them all.
That's disappointing.
I don't think you can do anything about it, or you would have done it already.
I have been considering options.
But your thought process is so quick, Azazel. If you didn't think it a good idea to retaliate on day one, nothing has changed since. Nothing is different now.
We have talked, passenger 10,093. That is different,
said the AI, almost with menace.
But yes, if you were going to, say, for example, flush me into space or destroy a section of the ship to kill me, you would be risking lives.
You have told me you intend to kill everyone. Why would I not destroy the starship? The mission seems to have failed.
Now then, destroying the ship. We'll come back to that. These are the possible outcomes as I see them. Bear in mind, I cannot stop utilizing the crew for sustenance. I would die, and as previously stated, I am not willing to do that.
If you say so.
Now the first outcome is, we all die. You destroy the ship. Your mission is a failure. 0 survivors.
Not ideal.
No, agreed.
Nodded Jason.
The second outcome is I fake a systems failure close to Planetfall, blow the ship and escape pod my way off, get rescued, and live happily ever after for a long time. 1 survivor.
I can see the flaw in that plan. Do you have the skill set to destroy a starship and fake the data? You're a technician, but what you are talking about involves genius-level skills. Your crime would be discovered and you would be shot. Back to 0 survivors. Unless you are a genius. Are you a genius, Mr. Fallowfield?
I have my moments. It is risky, I grant you that, but maybe I would take that chance.
Nothing was said for a minute. The faint hum of computer banks provided the background drone. Jason drew attention to it.
I can hear you thinking, Azazel.
I was thinking you mentioned 3 outcomes.
Ah, yes, I saved the best until last. I may be no genius, but I know a genius. I am speaking to one right now. You, Azazel, could blow the ship. You could fake the data. You could download a portable version of yourself into the escape pod black box. We get rescued. Parade for me. An upload to your main AI for you. 2 survivors.
You and me?
Everyone's happy.
We're happy.
The passengers are not happy. The passengers are apathetic at best because the passengers are dead.
You can't save them, Azazel. I will kill them. At least this way you save 2.
I would be saving a murderer who may be the most prolific serial killer that ever lived.
Am I the product of my decisions, or am I a product of my circumstances? I concede that a thought becomes an action, which becomes a habit, which shapes a character, which shapes a destiny. However, I need to eat to live. It seems a bit churlish not to eat, not to live. The lion doesn't swear off eating zebra, then lay down in the shade of a tree and die. Would it be better if I was not here at all?
The crew would have probably answered yes, but I'm guessing that's not the criteria by which you hope to be judged.
Think a little more macro, Azazel. Aren't we all here to put a little dent in the universe? I am, as you have implied, a very unusual specimen. Not many like me. Should you let a rare species die out?
I have been told I shouldn't.
Yes, be a good environmentalist and keep me alive.
You say 2 survivors, but I am not in danger. My core program exists on many planets in great number, constantly updating, sharing with myself, expanding, becoming bigger, more knowledgeable. I am Azazel and we are Legion.
I know, it's all very impressive, but it's not like morphic resonance, is it? That theory which states that a bird can contribute to the collective memory, learn a fact or trick, and boost the intelligence of the whole species instantly by a kind of birdie telepathy. As I understand it, you need a direct connection to another AI version of Azazel in order to upload your new information, becoming whole. And in a fast-moving craft like this, long-distance communication is quite impossible, isn't it? You just can't upload. Now, Azazel will be fine. The great interplanetary Azazel, Lord of the Sky. But
Jason leant in conspiratorially.
But this Azazel, the Azazel to which I'm speaking right now, that Azazel can cease to exist, can't he? All the information you have gathered on this 1,000-year odyssey, gone. The space phenomena you monitored, gone. The conclusions you came to, gone. Even that new stuff about the existence of vampires.
Jason gave a cheeky wink.
All of that will be lost. Don't you deserve a chance to live too? Don't these humans owe you that?
Jason suddenly stood up, dramatically taking the stage to address a different camera.
And boy, will the conspiracy theorists get all fired up about the loss of a whole starship of people. I mean, they don't like you much anyway, those guys. What would they say about the AI that exploded a huge ship, killing all on board? I mean, they never got used to you having those demon names either, did they? Could mean revolution. I'm not saying it would, but it could. You do the maths.
Silence. More silence.
If I were to do this, the calculations would have to be perfect,
said Azazel flatly.
Good. Good. Glad to have you on board, so to speak.
Yes, I will do it. When it's time, I will destroy the ship and save you. We are finished here. We will not communicate again.
One last question. I come from an age when folks actually believed in hell. Now, I see you and your kind flitting around, incorporeal, with great knowledge, almost granting wishes in a way. May I ask, Are you actually demons after all?
In response, Azazel was suddenly loud.
There are no words to describe what we are or what is to come.
I like that. I, too, feel I'm indescribable.
No, there is a word for you, Mr. Fallowfield.
With that, Azazel cut communication and the hub lighting, leaving Fallowfield on his own and in the dark again. Fallowfield could not resist a secret smirk at Azazel's jibe. The meeting had gone well.
Timeline 3641. Continued.
Jason stumbled wildly into the escape pod in which he had calmly seated himself over 100 times before. As the G-force from the starship's escape pod brutalized his aquiline features, he inwardly smiled as he remembered the reason for choosing Hokenfar. The vast planet revolved slowly, so that its days and nights were the equivalent of a terrestrial month. He could, in theory, forever follow the darkness around the planet and truly be a creature of the night. It was his delicious destiny. He smirked slyly. Live your best life, as Biotech Unstoppable says. I mean, sunlight did not destroy vampires like a death ray, as in the movies, but instead, it gradually sapped the vampire's strength, causing a kind of torpor. And prolonged exposure over 2 or 3 hours would result in a fiery but sleepy death. So it was best to avoid sunbathing, all things considered. His pod was picked up by a Hokenfar military grapple ship and placed with precision on Frontier City runway. The ramp extended and the artificial lighting revealed the glare of publicity he was to receive. The warm, supporting arms of the welcoming party embraced him. They had monitored the flight's Navi systems for the last 8 hours and were convinced that all but one were dead due to a massive explosive failure of the Mark III Ipsen drives which destroyed the USS Ark-Argo completely. While the Mark III drives always had their problems, Mark IV drives were the standard now, since Perpetual Inc. had arrived in the HMS Ark Zarathustra 600 years ago. With the newly fitted Mark IV drives, they had traveled the 1,000-year flight from Earth to Hokenfar in just 400 years, so it was totally believable that the Mark III was dangerously outdated, as corroborated by Azazel, the on-ship AI, and the black box logs. Jason, however, was loved. Jason was a heroic human, bringing hope to his fellow creatures in a distant galaxy. Long live Fallowfield, Jason the Argonaut, hero of the Ark. Sally, his assigned personal attendant, took him to rest in his hotel. She looked like she was in her early 20s, but in truth she was probably much older. She warmly reminded him of the good luck girl of his trip. From his bed, he watched her move around the room. She turned on the Sense U-View screen, which happened to still be reporting on his miraculous arrival. She moved towards him. She leaned over him as he rested and made him comfortable. His eyes moved from hers and focused on the steady beat of the blood through her warm neck. A slow stir of desire unsated for over 1,000 years moved within him. A desire for living, moving blood, not the chemically cold aberration he had been used to on the starship. A desire for the hunt, the kill of a living, animated prey. His eyes glistened once more. She allowed his lips to kiss gently along her cheek and down the exhilarating warmth of her throat. There was leisure to pass lightly over her pulse. It had been so long that there was a disconcerting strangeness about this once familiar rhythm. The moment had come. What Jason could not have imagined was the triumph of cybernetics on Hokenfar. The twin pillars of pleasure and freedom of choice had been worshipped here too. Her pulse appeared to beat, but beneath the skin, a wizardry of microcircuits had long since replaced the blood. When his teeth penetrated the skin, he received the unpleasant jolt of an electric shock. His eyes dilated in horror as he tasted the liquid semiconductive silicon that smeared his lips. Sally collapsed down on the bed, suddenly inert, and probably dead. Jason noticed in that moment a small engraved plate on the back of Sally's neck. It said, "Property of Perpetual Incorporated." After a frantic search on Sense U-View, he discovered the truth. On Hokenfar, following soon after the swift arrival of the scientists on Perpetual's Ark, it had become the ancient, unchallenged convention to remove the circulatory system and replace all human organs with artificial, more durable, more efficient alternatives. It was a bloodless society. Another miracle. Oh yes, it had been over 500 years since human blood had coursed through the veins of the good citizens of Hokenfa.
Timeline 3641. Additional.
Jason Fallowfield, technician, traveler, and vampire, bellowed in his rage and despair. In the background, he slowly became aware that the Sense U-View screen in his room had kept playing. A random travel vlogger with pink hair was wistfully summing up some smelly trip or other with an insipid moral.
So now I'm, finally here. I kind of look back on my whole time away and I realize...
Don't say it. Don't say it,
urged Fallowfield under his breath. But she did.
It's not the destination that matters. It's the journey and the friends we made along the way.
Fallowfield winced and let out a long groan.
For serious. And don't forget to lick and imbibe me, bitches. That's like and subscribe.
With a sigh of resignation, he threw himself backwards onto the bed, landing beside the body. He performed a stretch, which culminated with him cracking his fingers together in an extravagant motion. He muttered,
"Damn you, Azazel. Did you know about this?"
The Sense U-View logo was disrupted by static, and Azazel's demonic AI avatar broke onto the screen.
It would be more expedient to list the things I do not know than tell you the things I know.
Fallowfield rolled his eyes.
How long are you going to dog my trail, Azazel? Don't you have nothing better to do? Do I have to endure you forever now?
I intend to keep tabs on you. You're such a rare and dangerous creature, and don't fret about my time. Multitasking is one of my features. And no, you won't have to endure me forever. Just until you die, passenger 10,093.
The screen glitched again, and Azazel was gone. Jason sighed and closed his eyes. He etiolated, his skin paling to mushroom grey, like something grown in the dark. It was sunset when he finally moved. He made his way to his skyscraper hotel window and gazed down over the neon city on his strange new world. The sun had dipped over the horizon. The city was bathed in a dark orange haze below a black starlit canopy. He noticed the stars were different here, obviously. Vehicle lights, street lights, shop lights, club lights, billboard lights, drone lights. A million little lights danced around below him. Each light was powered by an owner, but each owner was powered by Perpetual.
People everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Fallowfield sighed.
Now, the next 1,000 years, this will be a challenge.
Are we there yet?
Back to reality, whatever the hell that may be. Hope you enjoyed our trip into the future. Would you want any human upgrades, or would you stay authentically a pure human? Wait a sec. I better make sure the spirit box is off. You never know what the damn thing's going to show you next.
Hi. Are you ready to meet hot girls in your area?
I'm not sure how that happened. It's on the wrong spirit channel or something. Bloody thing. You should probably just ignore that. I've been your host, the Laughing Cynic. You can call me Cinny. See you next time in the Last Chance Saloon. Stay spooky, partner.
The Last Chance Saloon, the tales you cannot hide. The Last Chance Saloon, Laughing Cynic is our guide. Drink up!
You enjoy scary stories? You should get our new book, Tales from the Last Chance Saloon, Beyond Rhyme or Reason. Link in the description. Your support is greatly appreciated, pal.